So Kamala Harris recently announced she will not be running for governor of California in 2026 after Newsom's term is up. There are a lot of people saying that this probably means that she plans to run in 2028 for the presidential election. She wants another bite at the apple, and a lot of people are not fans of this idea because, hey, she already lost, although she actually is doing fairly well in the polls to be the Democratic nominee. One person who endorsed Kamala Harris in the 2020 election, the 2020 primary, I should say, for the Democrats, is now criticizing the idea of her running again, and that's Charlemagne the God. The Hill reports that Charlemagne the God shared skepticism Thursday on the possibility of another White House bid from Kamala Harris, but he encouraged her to connect with people by publishing a book. Quote, "I don't know if she should run again, but I definitely would like to see her write a book. I definitely would like to see her start a podcast and just build a real connection with people," Charlemagne said during a Thursday episode of The Breakfast Club. "And she is relatively young. I just don't know what's going on in 2028, man. I just think Democrats suck so bad. I don't know," he added. Yeah, the word relatively is doing a lot of work there. She's going to be 64 in 2028, which feels so young compared to Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but it actually is still kind of on the older side, compared to other presidents, the age at which they took office. Some have speculated that Harris is planning to enter the race in 2028, where her Democratic opponents could range from AOC to Gavin Newsom. Quote, "I think Kamala can definitely be a leader in the Democratic Party. And I think the interesting thing about her is kind of like that strategy," Charlemagne told listeners. On Wednesday, Harris announced she wouldn't launch her bid for governor of the Golden State. However, she also promoted her new book, 107 Days, focused on the behind the scenes of the campaign trail she undertook months after former President Biden dropped out of the race. Yeah, I do agree that a book could be kind of interesting, kind of hear her perspective on that chaotic, historic, unprecedented period of time where it's like, oh shoot, July 21st, the current president is not going to run for a second term. He bowed out due to pressure and concerns about his age, and people are applauding him. They're like, yeah, good, he's being selfless. And she's just like, okay, I'm the vice president. Can I get the delegates now? And yeah, having to deal with getting a new vice president, someone who wouldn't have otherwise been on the ticket if Joe Biden hadn't dropped out, all that stuff. So yeah, it is a very interesting kind of perspective that she could offer. In the past, Charlemagne lauded Harris for reviving a dead campaign, but said President Trump captured audiences and spoke to voter grievances better. Yeah, he's big with the grievances. She did revive a dead campaign. I think there is no doubt that Joe Biden would have done worse than Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. I know that there are some conservative commentators who like to say, no, Joe Biden would have done better to kind of, rub salt in the wounds of Democrats. But no, Joe Biden would have done worse. He had internal polling that showed him losing over 400 electoral votes to Trump. Harris is expected to give her first formal post-election remarks in a Thursday interview on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Yep, gotta get in there before Stephen Colbert is canceled, before his show is done. Colbert, whose show is ending next year, has been critical of both Trump and his network's parent company, Paramount, for a lawsuit Trump brought against 60 Minutes over its editing of an interview with Harris. Yeah, so I think Charlemagne's correct here. Should she really run in 2028? I don't know which people are actually enthusiastically like, yes, her, nobody else, her. I want her more than anyone else to run in 2028. I will not rule out the possibility that she wins a general election in 2028. Trump won in 2024, even after having been convicted, criminally convicted, first criminally convicted president. So Kamala Harris, got majorly embarrassed in 2024 in the election. So, it seems like all bets are kind of off on the norms. So maybe she could win. I would say if she does win, it would be more narrowly than any other Democratic candidate or most other Democratic candidates. But we'll see, I guess. Let me know what you think in the comments below about Charlemagne's comments and about Kamala Harris potentially running in 2028 for president. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. This is the more the merrier, and I will speak to you in my next video.